I'm an optimistic person. I'm not hysterical. I laugh when people say, oh, you've got Trump derangement syndrome. If you're a reasonable person, you should have Trump derangement syndrome. And by the way, I think he has derangement syndrome about us, too.
No, he doesn't have derangement syndrome about you, Jimmy Kimmel. It's all you. You're all mentally ill. You shouldn't be allowed to fly on airplanes. Probably shouldn't be allowed to drive cars or vote. Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah, Trump derangement syndrome. Yeah, he's got us derangement syndrome. No, but you can stop shooting at him. That might calm things down a little bit. You stop firebombing stuff. Maybe put down the Molotov cocktails. Stop supporting Hamas and men pretending to be women and stealing trophies from high school girls and young women in college. Just a thought. Isn't that amazing? A very happy and glorious Tuesday to you in the United States of America. It's great to be an American, notwithstanding the left having taken over the Democrat Party, and they are effectively East Germany, even though most of them don't remember East Germany. They haven't been educated. They've only been indoctrinated and brainwashed and all that good stuff. But I've got a number of stories that I look forward to getting to with you today. Pretty amazing stuff. You know, there was a fun drone attack inside Russia launched by Ukraine where the Ukrainian drones took out dozens of Russian long-range bombers and blew them up. You know, they're most expensive, they're most long-range, and it's kind of fun. The numbers vary from 40, perhaps, Russian bombers taken out in this drone attack, coordinated on a number of different Russian air bases. A lot of fun. The commies deserve it. Putin deserves it. They're the bad guys. They have been forever, just by the way, since, certainly 1917 and the Bolshevik Revolution. The Washington Post today says that maybe 13 Russian aircraft were damaged as a result of the drone attacks, but it's kind of a fun story. And Zelensky, they love Zelensky, don't they? Hate Trump, love Zelensky. They're the left. Their color is red, not blue, red. And I think that we should stop referring to, I stopped long ago, red states and blue states. I don't use that because conservatives are not red in the United States of America or any place else for that matter. Oh, speaking of which, Europe and war and peace and all that stuff. Polish election builds on populist tide in Europe. That's the front page of the Washington Post, barely above the fold. Nationalists' narrow win reflects rising strength of MAGA-style movements. That is literally the front page of the Washington Post today. They got their headline backward. The subheadline is more important. But a conservative nationalist backed by President Donald Trump was elected to Poland's presidency over the weekend, capping a string of tightly fought contests that analysts say underscore the growing strength of far-right and populist parties in Europe. There's nothing far-right about them, and you guys should stop killing people and firebombing Jews and blowing things up and shooting politicians. How about that? Maybe you guys should be banned. I'm just saying. But this is kind of an amazing story. Karol Nawrocki, a historian supported by Poland's conservative Law and Justice Party, narrowly defeated Warsaw's liberal mayor, leftist, communist terrorist, in Sunday's election, 50.89% to 49.11%. Now, how can elections be that close everywhere in the world? There's something terribly wrong on the planet Earth. I'm going to blame the left because the left is guilty of everything. They destroy everything they touch. They ruin everything they touch. And also on the front page of the Washington Post today, because the Democrats love murder, suspect charged in Colorado attack. Officials, they love their colons, Zionist people targeted. Me, I'm an Irish Catholic, Basque Catholic, and I'm a Zionist. So I guess I believe that Israel has a right to exist. That's all you have to be a Zionist. I'm a Zionist, a proud Zionist, and very much in favor of Israel. I'm in favor of civilization versus barbarity, savagery. The Democrats, they love savagery. They harvest organs and things like that. Man faces hate crime, attempted murder counts. Yeah, I would think so. That would seem apparent, wouldn't it? Aren't they amazing? They certainly are. Yeah, but the savage, and it turns out the savage, the jihadi, he's got a daughter who graduated from high school very recently, and the terrorist, he waited until now he's an illegal alien in the country illegally, and he's got a daughter, and the daughter is in Colorado, and she just graduated from high school, and he told the police that he wanted to wait until his daughter had graduated from high school. His name is Mohammed, naturally, not to confuse things. Mohammed Sabri Soliman, and Mohammed Sabri Soliman from Egypt, where we have the pyramids and the Sphinx and the Muslim Brotherhood, although I think they banned the Muslim Brotherhood. That doesn't mean it went away. But he's got a daughter. That's not in the Washington Post because they don't report the news. But amazing stuff. And the local newspaper in Colorado, the Colorado Springs Gazette, did a glowing profile recently of Habiba Soliman, the daughter of Mohammed Soliman. And he came in illegally under Joe Biden 2 years ago. So what is his daughter doing here, going to high school and graduating from high school? And she's apparently been accepted to the University of Colorado at Colorado Springs and also Colorado University in Denver. She's already been accepted, being the spawn of the illegal alien radical Islamic jihadi terrorist from Egypt to attack the Jews with a flamethrower and Molotov cocktails, as Democrats so often do on so many different scores. Isn't that amazing? But the Colorado Springs Gazette, they did a glowing profile of his daughter, who's presumably also in the country illegally. Why would she not be in the country illegally while daddy's in the country illegally? But isn't that amazing? She attended a charter school, naturally. You know, her father's an illegal alien. Oh, maybe the charter school is right for you. Must be liberals. She came to the United States from Kuwait 2 years ago. From Kuwait. We probably should have left Kuwait to Saddam Hussein and just let them sort it out themselves, don't you think? You know, it was the 19th province, after all. And she hasn't been detained. She hasn't been deported, but maybe she wants to. The Democrats are going to say, oh, she's got to be here for her father's trial. Now, the Democrats will make up some mentally ill excuse or explanation as to why she shouldn't be deported. But I do think that she should probably be catapulted into the Atlantic Ocean. Just saying. Yeah, she graduated from high school and went to, a magnet school for the smart kids. Isn't that amazing? Graduated with honors and academic excellence in STEM, science, technology, math, and all that stuff. Isn't that wonderful? She got awards. Award for leadership. She's leading ISIS in her high school. Isn't that great? And why is she here again? Oh, because of the Democrats. Because of the Democrats. Now, we don't visit the crimes of the father upon the son, or for that matter, the daughter. But at the same time, get the hell out of here. What the hell are you even to your father's a terrorist? Get out. You catapulted into the Atlantic Ocean. Relocating from Kuwait 2 years ago was more than a cultural shock for Habiba Soliman, now a senior at Thomas McLaren School, magnet school. And it has served as a test of her adaptability and tenacity. Well, her father's got a lot of tenacity, very tenacious father. I'll give her father the tenacity thing because he's a radical Islamic jihadi terrorist. Kind of amazing he wasn't shot to death during the course of his setting fire to all the Jews. But you know how they are. And is he going to be a Democrat hero like Luigi Mangione, who killed a healthcare insurance company CEO on the sidewalks of New York using a gun? Killed by a Democrat using a gun. Democrats like to say he was killed by a gun. No, he's killed by a Democrat using a gun. These people. I'm telling you. All right, now let's go to, I want to get to some audio today, which I often fail to do. Let's go to soundbite number 1. We could start at the beginning. This is the U.S. Attorney in Colorado, prosecuting the terrorist Soliman. This is J. Bishop Grewell. J. Bishop Grewell, the U.S. attorney in Colorado who will be prosecuting this case, talking about Soleiman. And, gosh, maybe he just became angry on the fly and was concerned about his daughter graduating from a magnet school, a STEM school.
Mr. Solomon stated that he had been planning this attack for a year.
Solomon.
And he acted because he hated what he called the Zionist group. He said that he had previously tried to purchase a firearm, but resorted to the Molotov cocktails when he could not purchase a gun because he was not a legal citizen.
Huh. How about, we have gun laws and there are checks? I mean, he can't just, because the Democrats always lie about that. They got David Hogg out there lying about that, one of their child prophets of apocalyptic doom, of which they have several. So he tried to buy a gun. He wanted to use a gun, but he couldn't buy it because he's an illegal, stinking alien that the Democrats invited in the country to kill people here in the United States because the Democrats don't like us. And he hated the Zionists. Me, I'm a Zionist. I guess he'd hate me, too. And then in Colorado, the not the U.S. attorney, but the district attorney there, Michael Doherty. Did you learn anything else after you arrested the terrorists?
I will highlight for you that there were 16 unused Molotov cocktails.
16?
That were recovered by law enforcement in the hours after the incident took place. We've now identified 4 additional victims, so there's now a total of 12 victims.
12 we heard yesterday, 8. Now we know there are 12 that were set on fire by the genocidal racist who the Democrats will create a scholarship in his name or something. 16 unused Molotov cocktails that he had prepared and had in the area, and the police officer very calmly arrested the terrorist, didn't even shoot him. Tom Homan is our head of illegal immigration for the United States of America. He's on our side, unlike the Democrats. And, gosh, how did this guy get here? Why was he in Colorado ready to murder the Jews?
It scares the hell out of me. I've been doing this for 40 years. It should have scared the hell out of every American what the Biden administration did. This 2 million known gotaways scares the hell out of me. So I'm convinced something's coming unless we can find them.
2 million known gotaways under Joe Biden. How many of them do you think are ISIS and Al-Qaeda and just lone wolf, genocidal Jew haters, anti-Semites, racist, anti-American? Just amazing. Even Senator John Fetterman, who is allegedly a Democrat from Pennsylvania, saying, God, maybe we should be paying attention to this whole Democrat Party Jew hatred thing.
The rank anti-Semitism out of control. This is just rampant across all the universities, for all these places, too. I mean, we really need to call it what it is. Building tent cities on a campus and terrorizing and intimidating Jewish students, that's not free speech. And now we've lost the argument in parts of my party.
Lost the argument in parts of my party. Your party should be wearing armbands, and you should have some kind of anti-cross symbol of some kind. Chuck Schumer is the Lizard King, and he is a radical leftist, and he's Jewish, but he's not on his own side because that would require being an American and a civilized representative of Western civilization. He's against that. He just political hackery everywhere he goes.
The Jewish deli has a rock thrown through it because it's...
Chuck Schumer! You care more about fake anti-Semitism crisis than the real Holocaust to the Palestinian people! Come on. There's a real Holocaust happening in Gaza!
Democrats. Then he blew up. He detonated his suicide vest. That's right. Chuck was at a book event, and Democrats started standing up. You don't care. The real anti-Semitism is Hamas and the jihadis from the river to the sea. The Democrats now chant that like they're Al-Qaeda. The Democrat Party might as well be Al-Qaeda. How many people did they kill last year in the United States? And then at the Schumer book event, that guy screaming, the real Holocaust is in Gaza, where Hamas is occasionally being killed because they started a war with a superior enemy. And then the mentally ill Democrats, a woman. You've got blood on your hands. Now, she's being dragged out of the book event like the first guy was being dragged. Then another, most of their women, I was just reading in the last hour, more mentally ill liberal women than any other category.
Hate on you!
Yeah, Palestine is free, and you need mental help. You should be dragged away, probably tased, locked up, leg braces, thrown in solitary confinement, and forgotten about. And they're all pro-Hamas and anti-Semites. They're, some of them, too stupid to realize that because they've been brainwashed by professionals. The Democrat Party. You know, the big wireless telephone companies pulling one over on all of us. It's time to switch to consumer cellular. Listen, I moved over to consumer cellular, and the switching over is fast. It's easy. They've got a reliable nationwide network, the big wireless coverage without the big wireless cost. But it's not just about saving money on my bill. It's also about not being used by the big old phone companies. Do you even know how much you pay every month? Most people over 50 use less than 8 gigs of data a month, but the big wireless companies, they shove you into an unlimited plan because you need to cover the cost of younger people in their teens using a whole lot more data than you. Consumer Cellular set me up with a phone service and an amazing phone with a crazy great camera to try, and it was so easy to switch. Listen, you call, you talk to an actual person based right here in the United States, not on a space platform somewhere, not a bot, not a robot, right? Real human beings who are incredibly helpful, and it only takes about 20 minutes. So give them a call on the telephone and make the switch today. You'll be happy you did. Call them at 800-760-0702. That's 1-800-760-0702. Yes, sir. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, so Chuck Schumer being rousted by his own. I've got a lot more crazy Democrat coming up today. Chris here with a list of things that none of us should trust. The Washington Post, the New York Times, anything on CNN. Here's a list of things that I do trust. The Washington Times. Support real journalism for just $1 a week at WashingtonTimes.com/Chris. I keep saying that, the party of the Democrat Party, their color is red, not blue. No one should say they're the blue party and Republicans are the red party. That's just a macro lie by the macro liars that we call the Democrat Party. Their delusional, mentally ill world, which is very often violent and terroristic. Gavin Newsom and his administration are meeting with the Chinese communists in California. They're meeting yesterday. They're going to continue meeting just on the lead up to the Tiananmen Square massacre. And it looks like Gavin Newsom is acting as though he's a separate country. And he's negotiating with the communists on trade with California, but not with the United States. I think maybe it's time for a pre-dawn FBI raid with battering rams, flashlights on their helmets, arrest him, drag him away in cuffs. As maybe he's hanging out with Fang Fang like Eric Swalwell. Got more on that coming up and more crazy Democrats. Wah, 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 wah. Yeah, I got to say, California Gavin Newsom, National Review has the story. Gavin Newsom and his people meeting with the communist Chinese and trying to cut trade deals as a state. The Democrats want to make this communist the president of the United States. And boy, oh boy. So this Governor Newsom has earned the pole position as Xi Jinping's leading man in the United States. What about Eric Swalwell? He had a sexual affair with a Chinese secret agent named Fang Fang for years. Fang Fang brought Congressman Eric Swalwell from a city council seat in California to the U.S. Congress and the Intelligence Committee, and the New York Times is fine with that. CNN, they're fine with that. Aren't they amazing? Man. Michael Lucci, the founder of State Armor, an advocacy group, said that Gavin Newsom has earned the pole position as Xi Jinping's leading man in the United States. They could be dating. You know how they are. Aren't they amazing? California's leadership undermines America's broader national security by prioritizing engagement with Chinese entities that are backstopped by China's military intelligence and their influential networks over building resilient supply chains with Americans, American treaty allies. It's unfathomable how California imagines it upholds liberal values by engaging a regime involved in genocide, environmental degradation, party-state ethnocentrism, not to mention slavery, and general belligerence around the world. Man, National Review asked Gavin Newsom's office for a response to their story, and they just ignored him because they're like the communists in China. Man, oh man. Just crazy. So they're sitting down, the Chinese Communist Party, their agency, the intelligence community. Here's California breaking off. Once again, this is like 1861 all over again with the Democrats. It's going to be difficult for California to fire on Fort Sumter, but they might find a way. Gavin Newsom, they are the Red Party. They're the Reds. No blue state, red state stuff. They are the Reds. They're the East Germans. They're the Communist Chinese. They're the communists. They're the Communist Party in the United States, disguised as the Democratic Party. All right, now, speaking of the Chinese Communist Party and the communists in the United States, let's go to the news media. Yesterday on CNN, they've been going off on these polls for a couple of days now, but yesterday and the day before, CNN going crazy. I played one of the sound bites yesterday of Dana Bash. CNN has a guy named David Chalian. He's a radical left-wing who was fired from his last fake journalism job for smearing and slandering Mitt Romney as being, a terrible racist right-wing. And then CNN said, oh, we like the cut of his jib. We'll have sexual relations with him. If he rolled over you, he'd crush you and crush your ribs and your spine. He needs to get one of those shots in the belly, I think. David Chalian on CNN looking at the polls, and the poll numbers are really bad for the Democrats, and they're in a transsexual panic over at CNN. David Chalian.
Which party is better described as the party with strong leaders? Look at this.
Wow.
16% of Americans say Democrats, 40% say that of the Republican Party. Now, overall, no party's doing great. Lots of Americans say neither of these qualities apply to either party. But look at how much worse off the Democrats are. A party that gets things done. Only 19% of Americans say that about the Democrats. So among Democrats and Democratic leaners, 32% say Democrats are the party with strong leaders. I mean, of their own kind.
32% of Democrats say the Democrat Party has strong leadership. And you hear how this corpulent clown just said, well, neither party is strong. The Democrats have 16%. The Republicans have 40%. Well over twice as high a number as the Democrats. And he's like, oh, they're both doing badly. They're both doing terribly. Yeah, one has 16%, which is the same approval rating that Democrats give to child molesters from Venezuela. And Republicans have 40%. That's well over twice as strong, way over twice as strong. But he's like, oh, yeah, but neither one have good numbers because he's not legitimate. He's not a legitimate journalist or purveyor of truth. That's not his thing. They have another guy who's funnier, at least. He's a Democrat, too, but his name is Harry Enten. Harry Enten. I don't know why I always think of Danish sweet rolls with hair on them. But that's Harry Enten. He's their polling guy, and he loves to become very enthusiastic, jumping up and down with the big board in front of him about the Democrat Party and the Republican Party in the polls.
The party that is closest to your economic views. In November of 2023, it was the Republicans by 11 points. Now it's still within that range, still within that margin of error. Plus 8-point advantage for the Republican Party. How is that possible, Democrats? How is that possible after all the recession fears, after the stock market's been doing all this, after all the tariffs that Americans are against, and Republicans still hold an 8-point lead on the economy? Are you kidding me?
The recession, after all the recession fears, which they created and which did not happen, but we did have a recession during Joe Biden's time in office, which is 2 consecutive economic quarters with negative economic growth. And then the Democrats, meaning the news media and the White House, changed the definition of the word recession, so it no longer applied to the recession that we were in at the time, and they blamed somebody else, and they lied about it, and they told the lie 1,000 times, and then they believed it themselves. November in 2023, Republicans had a 13-point advantage now, an 8-point advantage on the economy, and why not? And what about the recession fears? Well, there was no recession, and you guys lied about that, and it's why nobody believes you pimps. And I apologize to pimps everywhere, who I'm sure in many cases have more integrity than the average Washington journalist. Man, and they're just and he's jumping around and waving his arms around, and I can't believe it. Why do they? And the recession for now, and the stock market. He mentioned the stock market. Aren't we at like 42,000 on the stock market now in the Dow Jones Industrials? And they lied to us that it was going to get real bad, and then it didn't. Harry Enton is the overly exuberant CNN polling guy, and he was jumping up and down yesterday. That terrible Republican versus Democrat thing.
On our latest CNN poll among registered voters, which is the party of the middle class? It is tied. This, I think, speaks to Democratic ills more than anything else. They have traditionally been the party of the middle class. No more. Donald Trump and the Republican Party have taken that mantle away. Republicans have completely closed the gap.
Republicans have completely closed the gap. Well, while you guys are having a parade for Mohammed Sabri Soleiman and for illegal alien murderers, and, oh, by the way, we've got another, a gang of illegal aliens arrested. Was it South Carolina for murdering a mother of two? Another mother of two murdered by another, and this time it's not one illegal alien, it's 6 illegal aliens that have been arrested for murdering a mother of 2 African-American women. The Democrats pretend to care about all kinds of things, but they don't. We've got raging anti-Semitism in America, radical Islamic jihadis taking their cues from the Democratic Party. Isn't that amazing? Man, I'm telling you, the biggest illegal immigration raid in the history of the country, arresting all these murderers and rapists who are wanted in their own countries for murder and rape. And the Democrats waving in jihadis from Egypt to set Jews on fire in Boulder, Colorado. I'm telling you, the Democrat Party. Yeah, 6 illegal aliens arrested for murdering another. And that's what defines the Democrat Party. That's what the Democrat Party is. You may remember yesterday, number 9A, yesterday I played the soundbite for you. Dana Bash, and again, Harry Enton, and this other Chalian clown who's one of the worst clowns of all. And he's been exposed again and again, and CNN continues to hire these people like the hack, former FBI deputy director. They hired him, and he comes on and lies all the time, too. Boy, don't marry any of these people. You'll be disappointed in the long run. Dana Bash, I played this soundbite yesterday, whose ex-husband was an Obama administration official who signed on to that fake Felonious 51 letter about Hunter Biden's laptop being Russian disinformation. She is, and then she's sitting there with Jake Tapper talking about passing notes back and forth at the presidential debate. And Jake Tapper, a former Democrat congressional Capitol Hill staffer, with Dana Bash, the ex-wife of an Obama administration official. You might begin to think that the news media is corrupt. Dana Bash, and here, listen to the question that she asks here. This is pretty amazing.
Only 19% of Americans say that your party can get things done. 36 say the same about Republicans. And just 16% say your party has strong leaders. It's pretty rough, and you are one of those leaders. How do you turn that around?
How do you turn that around? That's the question. How do you improve your poll numbers? What can I do to help as a lifelong member of the Democrat Party pretending to be an objective journalist? How are we going to turn that around? We got to turn that around. And she was talking to the Democrat leader in the Senate, Hakeem Jeffries, who was raised by a virulent, well-known anti-Semite professor, Professor Leonard Jeffries, famous anti-Semite. Speaking of famous, and I assume he's an anti-Semite, Governor Tim Walz, he's the governor of Minnesota, believe it or not, and his wife liked to leave their bedroom windows open when the city was being burned by Democrats and looted because she liked the smell of the burning city. wafting in through the bedroom windows. Tim Walz, he's out there yelling and ranting and raving and oh yeah, Trump is the bad guy. Now, I mean, how many people do the Democrats have to shoot? How many fire bombings do there have to be before Trump stops being the bad? He wants to what? This is the Democrat guy that they picked to be the vice presidential running mate, and he is just awful. He's man. Of course, Kamala Harris's husband, his Secret Service code name is Slugger because of the way he beats women at film festivals, spinning around like a dreidel after he smacks them. That's why his code name is Slugger. Here's Tim Walz. He's the Democrat governor. Democrats chose him to run as vice president.
I'm getting called out on this because I called Donald Trump a wannabe dictator. It's because he is. It's because he
Woo!
is.
They all say woo.
Oh.
Then they firebomb the Jews.
The governor's being mean, and the governor's speaking out on that. Well, maybe it's time for us to be a little meaner.
Yeah, maybe it's time to be a little. I don't know how many people have to be shot. How many firebombings can there be? You guys are a violent criminal enterprise. Amazing stuff. Tim Walz calls on Democrats to be meaner, to be fierce. Trump is a wannabe dictator. Well, he's the one that was shot. And how many would-be assassins have to be arrested and pulled out of the ranks of the Democrat Party? How many firebombings of Jewish governors' houses in Pennsylvania do there have to be? How many chants of from the river to the sea on American college campuses do there have to be when, honestly, the number of anti-Semitic attacks in the United States skyrocketing all over the place because of the Democrats, 100% because of the Democrats. And what are they, up like 800% anti-Semitic attacks in the last 5 years? And the Democrat Party, they're not on the side of civilization. They're the left. Tim Walz is the governor of Minnesota. And, oh, yeah, Trump is, and the idiot crowd is getting ready to self-immolate or shoot a CEO or something. Tim Walz.
The thing that bothers a teacher more than anything is to watch a bully, to watch this bully and to stop it. And when it's a child, you talk to them and you tell them why bullying's wrong. But when it's adult like Donald Trump, you bully the out of him back. You push back.
I think he meant to say when it's an adult like Donald Trump, not when it's adult. I don't think he believes dolt is a word describing adult human beings. Does he? But it's possible because that's it. And he's wannabe dictator. Sure, that's what's going on. I got to tell you, on CNN, they do have one common sense person, Scott Jennings, who tells the truth on CNN. This relationship has got to be quite awkward, I would think. But Scott Jennings was asked about these Tim Walz comments on CNN, and I think he summed it up pretty perfectly.
The other person who spoke in South Carolina, Tim Walz, is a special mixture of extreme buffoonery and a mean spirit, which is a toxic brew. He is not the future of the Democratic Party.
He is not the future. What is it? A toxic brew of buffoonery, extreme mean-spiritedness? That's pretty good stuff, I've got to say. He is good. Scott Jennings is quite good. The Democrat Party ought to be disbanded. I've got people now former Democrat talking about the Democrat Party going the way of the loon. That's still coming up. Since Roe v. Wade was overturned by the Supreme Court, overall in the United States of America, abortions actually increased by about 1% last year. That translates to a reported 1,038,000 abortions. Every one of these lives, of course, a precious life. Not to some people. Preborn's network, Preborn, the wonderful people at Preborn. Preborn's network of clinics across the country, strategically located in the country's highest abortion areas. And they're ready to help support women, pregnant young women, making decisions about their babies' futures and their own futures. Through compassionate, loving care and free ultrasounds, Preborn helps women to connect with the life growing inside of them. because once a pregnant mother hears the heartbeat, sees the baby waving, the baby's chance of living a nice, long, happy life actually doubles. Last year alone, Preborn rescued more than 67,000 babies. That's a stadium full. Please consider getting involved with Preborn. Your monthly support of $28 makes this mission possible. Life is, of course, sacred. Life is eternal. To donate to Preborn, all you have to do is dial pound 250 on your phone and say the keyword baby when prompted. That's pound 250. The keyword is baby. Or go to Al Gore's Amazing Internet to preborn.com/plant. That's me, Plante, preborn.com/plant. Yes, sir. Yeah, I've got a great woman, now former California Democrat, coming up who had some actual pearls of wisdom. Those are coming up, too. We are at 888-630-9625.
Tim Walz is a special mixture of extreme buffoonery and a mean spirit, which is a toxic brew.
All right, let's go back to the telephones, Michael. More crazy Democrats coming up, of course. Let's go to Rick calling from the land of Lincoln, the great state of Illinois. Rick, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Love the show, Chris Plant. My best girl and I are driving down the highway, and we thought that since President Trump renamed the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, he could change the color to blue real easily, and the symbol, instead of the elephant, to the lion.
For the Republican Party, we do have to take blue back, because the reds have to be labeled appropriately as reds, right, Rick?
Absolutely.
And they've never been more red.
No. And I think the elephant symbol could be to our wonderful, illustrious governor, JB, which stands for Jumbo.
Hey, your best girl's laughing at your jokes. That's great. Driving along the highway and you're doing shtick, and she's laughing out loud at your jokes. That's very good. That's a very good sign.
I have to pay her.
I pay her. That's great. That's wonderful. But so the Republicans should take blue back. President Trump, and you're right, he can rename the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America, can definitely say, listen, from now on, the Republican Party is blue and the Democrat Party is red. It'd be a great, fun fight for him to pick. And I think it's a good idea.